Thanks so much, Hakim and Najib. Selamat Hari Raya to both of you and also to all our viewers. It certainly is a very different Raya mood this year. Aidilfitri celebrations look very different, right, Sharad? I mean, you look very festive. Has the festive spirit embodied you yet?
Well, Melissa, I think what's really happened is, especially for somebody like me who's not a religious, the Ramadan month also has the Pasa Ramadan, and that is also very festive. So there's often this lead up to the Raya holidays, and because the expectation of going and visiting friends, and all of which in some ways we had to kind of pull back on this year. So yeah, it's muted, but I think we find a way to enjoy the season nevertheless.
I definitely agree. I think it's a lot more intimate this year, but also a lot more meaningful. And we have a special guest joining us now on the show, a well-known singer and actress, Adiba Noor. Welcome to the show. Thanks so much for your time. Selamat Hari Raya to you, Adiba. I just want to know how you're coping with this all, because despite the very grim outlook surrounding the pandemic, how have you managed to keep yourself upbeat and personally in the Raya mood?
Well, I'm very fortunate that my father's house is in KL. I'm a KL girl, KL born and bred. So where I live is in Pandan Indah, so it's easy to travel to see my father and also my brother's family. So we're keeping it chilled down, not as festive as before.
So Adiba, how are you coping with the no salam, no hugging? So practicing safe distancing while nak salam raya is so much part of the pagi raya celebrations, kan?
I have to break that rule because I know I have been at home from the 18th of March when all this started. And I know my family in Datuk Keramat has also been keeping themselves inside their houses. So it doesn't matter to me. I went there and hugged everybody and kissed my nephews and nieces. I just have to.
So this is also, one of those kind of lines, right? Because what the government has been advising, what the health officials are advising us to do is to make those little sacrifices when it comes to perhaps situations where we aren't so entirely sure that we can do those things without harming other people. What is your advice to others who perhaps are not as fortunate as you, having lived with your family since the crisis began? What would you say to them?
Pretend that everybody can infect you. Or you must always think that you will be able to infect others as well. So if you know that the person, or rather if you don't know where the other people have been to, just really keep your distance. Unless you're as sure as I am that everybody has been staying home and not going out, then maybe you can hug the people you love. But for those for your guests who are coming to visit and you're not sure where they've been, then that one you have to maintain your social distancing for sure.
Adiba, can I ask you about Makan Raya? Are you going to do a big feast? Are you still going to have a big cookout, or is it a lot more smaller this year, more intimate and more pared down?
It's just with the family, no guests, I suppose, and it is quite sad that my sister, who is based in Skudai, Johor, cannot come back to join us because you're not allowed to travel beyond state borders. So that's pretty sad for all of us because one of the family members is missing, and my younger brother is working in Mecca, so he cannot come back. So it's just us.
Well, what's the signature dish in the Adiba Noor household?
My favorite dish, which is a must, is the nasi impit and kuah kacang.
My favorite too.
That sounds fascinating. I do want to ask you about children. Children in particular grow up with the experience. They look forward to festive occasions like this. How do you explain to them why things have changed? I mean, how do we communicate to young kids to know the limitations that are now imposed on all of us?
I think they have also been subject to the MCO for 2.5 months. So I think they pretty much understand what's happening out there, that they cannot go out and so on and so forth. So there's not much explanation needed when it comes to my little niece. She understands. I think they're practically, or rather basically, quite happy that school is not in yet.
Okay, school. Yeah, that's always, I think, very important. I mean, I know some kids are actually missing school, but let's talk about something else. As you, as a professional, you know, in the entertainment business, you know, and the kind of public events that you do normally, all that, I guess, up in the air because of the pandemic. What's been the effect for you personally, and also for those you know within your profession?
Well, people in the entertainment industry are very much affected. For example, myself, the bulk, or rather the main income of my whole livelihood depends a lot on engagements for events where I sing, entertain, and also host. So that is really like off the list for 6 months to 1 year. And there is a word that's going around right now that says maybe events will be put on hold for another 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know how far that is true, but for people like me who are so-called frontliners of the entertainment industry, performing on the stage or in front of the camera lens, I think we pretty much still can leverage on whatever name that we've managed to create for ourselves and do stuff like selling clothes or selling products or do online videos and still earn money. But what about those who are in the lounge, hotel lounge circuit, in the club circuit, the musicians, the crew members, the production engineers and all that? So when people say entertainment, they seem to have this perception that it only entails performers, when actually it involves a lot of other people as well who are suffering so much from this.
And as a working artist, I mean, the Raya period is often a time where you're busiest, right? The Raya advertisements, the celebrations, the open houses, the corporate dues, and all that is no longer applicable this year. How have you been coping with that?
Actually, it's quite crazy. I'm really quite frightened and scared what's going to happen after this, frankly speaking. Yes, Raya season is a much looked forward season usually, where we get a lot of engagements to perform at open houses. And since that's not happening this year, and whatever that comes after the Raya season, it should be going towards annual dinners, corporate functions and all that. And looks like that's not going to happen, so I have a few things on the table for me to consider. One, maybe I can continue selling plus-size clothing. That only puts food on the table, but not enough to pay for the rest of the bills.
Right.
Or maybe I could look for a job and become a monthly wage earner, selling my voice as a telephonist, telephone operator, because I only got my voice to sell.
Well, you have a beautiful voice. I do want to ask you, Adiba, about the sentiment, right? So whatever events will happen going forward, you know, all practicing safe distancing, the tone of it will be very mindful of the sentiment of the public. So I don't know whether what we're looking for is frivolity or entertainment. How do we take that into account when you are looking to, you know, entertain a crowd? What would you do?
Oh, I have no answer to that. But I wish there is an initiative from whoever that can start one. I see a lot of performers, singers, hosts, actors, and whatnot giving free shows online. Well, maybe for the first 2 months of the MCO, you can sing for free or do whatever it is that you can do online and earn money from YouTube and whatever, and still have an audience to watch. But until when are we going to be performing for free? We are professional singers, we are professional actors, and by that it means we should be getting paid. So if only there's somebody who can think of some kind of initiative where people can still perform online and yet earn a living.
I want to explore that, you know, the tension between you being a performer and always needing to somehow project a happy demeanor, a positive one, optimistic about the future, against your own perhaps inner turmoils, as you kind of described them, your anxieties about the future. How do you manage that?
It is what society expects of people like me. They don't want to see us sad because it is our job to make people happy. I brought it up with a friend one day, and this is what I tell her. Whether people want to admit it or not, we all need entertainment. But when entertainers or performers come up front and voice out their concerns about this, some of us, I think most of us are freelancers, and because of the considerably high income that we were earning before the MCO, it disqualifies us from any financial aid. And whenever we do voice out for the need to be financially assisted, we get slammed by people on the internet saying that, oh, you charge so much, you don't deserve to be helped, and all that kind of thing. When in fact, freelancers are without any income during the MCO. So where do we tick the box when we want to try to apply for the government aid? There's no bracket. And if you do tick a certain number, let's say 4,000 ringgit and below, you will be punished for giving false information on your income. So who is protecting us? We are freelancers, we are performers, people of the entertainment industry who are without any jobs at all. We've got no income. So
I hear your plight, and I also want to commend you so much, Adiba, for using the platform that you have. I know on social media you've done this thing where young entrepreneurs or small businesses tag you on social media, and what you do is you use your platform and your many followers, and you retweet that, so amplifying their businesses for them online. And I truly appreciate that. Have you seen successes? Have people come back and told you that business has grown, or they've seen an increase in sales because of the help that you've kind of just lent a hand to them?
It's the least I could do for my followers, because I'm going through the same thing. Everybody's going through the same thing, and I do also have products to sell. So I think by paying it forward like that, just as a little gesture, as little as a retweet, means a lot to them. And yes, I have had feedbacks where they thank me for the engagement on Twitter, especially Twitter. I'm very active only on Twitter. Facebook, not so much, because there's the Bawang army there. Instagram, not so much. But Twitter, I seem to have a very good following there. So we're actually trying to provide with each other's needs. And they have given me feedback saying that because of my retweet, they have had, they don't have enough hands on manpower to actually, so that's wonderful news. It's the least I could do for each other. We're doing it for each other, it's not for me.
Kita jaga kita, kan? Adiba, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Adiba.
Selamat Hari Raya to you from us both. All right, thank you. Appreciate your time tonight.